Welcome to Golf Hypnotherapy with Hal Blackwell, the creator of the Performance Absent Results methodology.
Hello, I'm Hal Blackwell, a golf mental game consultant, here to explain how I can improve your handicap using hypnotherapy. The PAR methodology is not concerned with swing mechanics per se. That's for PGA professionals. PAR is about managing a golfer's mental narrative to achieve a more disciplined approach to the game of golf. Become more disciplined, become more consistent. You may have heard it's not how good your good ones are, it's how good your bad ones are. A disciplined approach increases focus. The very worst shots happen when the golfer is distracted, or more succinctly, when the golfer veers off the narrative he is trying to achieve. Golfers know how important the mental part of golf is, and the mental part falls under the purview of hypnotherapy. The essential role of the mental requirements of golf separate it from all other sports. To understand how hypnotherapy works requires a brief visit with Aristotle in ancient Greece and a short stop in Germany around 1820. I think it's important for my clients to know this because once understood, hypnosis gets eliminated from the hocus pocus category forever. It will become clear why junior golfers benefit so much from imagination therapy as well. You'll also get why golf and hypnotherapy are such an incredible fit. Aristotle proffered that humans make decisions syllogistically. An example of a syllogism is, all men are mortal, Aristotle is a man, therefore Aristotle is mortal. Aristotle concluded that humans use syllogisms, or pure logic, as the primary instrument to forming beliefs. Aristotle theorized that humans form opinions using logic and conclusions resulting from previous syllogisms. It makes sense. These interconnected determinations form something called the human dialectic. Aristotle said humans rely on logic to form their dialectic to the extent their intellect allows. His model held sway for some 2,000 years. After the Enlightenment, or towards the end of it, in the early 1800s, along comes a German philosopher named George Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel. Hegel was an Aristotle fan, but determined his approach to the human dialectic needed a little tweaking. Hegel said that syllogisms don't form the human dialectic in the way Aristotle thought. He said what we do to form opinions or decide what is factual, and this is very, very important, is that we go through a mental process of thesis, antithesis, and then synthesis. For a rough example, suppose I say to you that Sunday is the best day of the week. That's the thesis. To analyze the thesis, your brain subconsciously produces the antithesis. Sunday is not the best day of the week. The antithesis happens involuntarily. Even if you agree with me about Sunday being the best day of the week, the subconscious produces an antithesis to draw that conclusion. You then synthesize the thesis and the antithesis, again, almost exclusively in your subconscious. In our example, you might decide that Sunday's good, but you like Friday best. That's the synthesis. Hegel says that around age 2, we start forming our dialectic in this way. Hegel said that the human subconscious is this elaborate maze of synthesized facts supported by other synthesized conclusions. When we experience life cognitively, we involuntarily construe those experiences to fit our dialectic. Hegel is considered the father of modern psychology because his insights have proven to be correct. The human subconscious mind is a vast reservoir of these syntheses, most of which we're not aware of. Think of a 3-foot cylinder with a fishnet inside, representing interconnected conclusions supporting subsequent conclusions. The conscious mind is only that part of the fishnet that can be seen from the top of the cylinder. 80% of a human's dialectic resides in the subconscious. If you play golf, your subconscious holds your golf dialectic within the greater human dialectic. It's your human golf program or human golf app. And it's not all in one place. It's like blockchain technology with pieces stuck here and there in your subconscious. Within your golf dialectic, you have made agreements about yourself with yourself concerning the game of golf. You've drawn conclusions about the game of golf itself. You have a favorite club to hit, a favorite course to play, a favorite weather to play in, on and on ad infinitum. You have the opposites as well. That hole you just wish wasn't there. Downhill putts that break right. Fairway sand traps, on and on. These agreements are based on beliefs stored in your subconscious. These beliefs have a mighty influence on your handicap, some good, some bad. The primary way beliefs negatively affect your golf game is that they involuntarily create expectations, and an expectation is a premeditated resentment, especially when it comes to golf. When golf expectations go unmet, the golfer involuntarily cedes control of their emotions to that which they cannot control. In golf, the chronic, most insidious expectation revolves around consistency. Amateur golfers expect to hit their best shot every time. Tiger Woods in his prime didn't hit his best shot every time. Yet there's Johnny Weekend throwing a club because he hit it fat in a bunker when up and down would have meant birdie. Johnny's mind was getting ready to line up a putt or thinking about his scorecard after making birdie. Lack of discipline and focus equals lack of consistency, and lack of consistency breeds a lack of confidence. This is the aspect of golf dramatically improved by the par hypnotherapy sessions. Before we go any further, let me improve your game free of charge. Here's reality. Prepare mentally for an unsatisfactory result. A 10 handicapper hits 3 atrocious shots on average during every round. Think of Tiger's chip in on 16 at Augusta. He made the shot because the previous shot was unsatisfactory. When he made the stroke on that chip, do you think he was brooding about missing the green on a relatively easy approach shot? Nothing could have been further from his mind. And putting. A touring professional makes 40% of 10-foot putts. They're 50-50 from 8 feet. I had the opportunity to watch Robert Carlson, who was on the tour and now plays on the Champions Tour, practice putting day in, day out. His routine was to spend 3 hours going around a 7-foot circle around the hole 3 or 4 times a week. Tiger, to get the feel of the greens, hits 600 putts daily. Don't freak out when you hit a bad shot or miss a putt. Easier said than done, though, right? What happens is your narrative goes from golf to fighting your emotions. At that point, you're toast. Lose the narrative, lose the battle. This is why hypnotherapy is so powerful. First, using hypnotherapy, your expectations can be tempered. Secondly, the frustration can be felt, then discarded. Taking your bad shots in stride improves your result. The calmer you are, the more focused you can be. Being more focused improves your score. And that, in a nutshell, is the underpinning truth upon which hypnotherapy relies to promise lower scores. And as a bonus, a significantly more enjoyable round of golf on the golf course. Through hypnotherapy, we can eliminate the restricting agreements you've made about yourself, with yourself. I call it taking out the trash, and replace the trash with confidence. To do that requires a conversation with the golf dialectic hiding in the mysterious subconscious. Here's where the imagination part comes in, and it's critical. To reach the subconscious, something called the critical faculty must be breached. The critical faculty, or critical factor, is the conscious analytical part of the mind that acts as a gatekeeper or firewall between the conscious and the subconscious. Its primary function is to evaluate, judge, and filter incoming information against existing beliefs before allowing it to pass into the subconscious. Hypnotherapy is a way to bypass the critical faculty to allow therapeutic suggestion to be accepted by the subconscious mind without interference. It's so powerful because the subconscious doesn't think critically on its own. The subconscious is extremely, and I mean extremely, gullible. It believes what it's told without question. It's hard to get your head around, but it's absolutely true. Hypnotherapy works by fooling your conscience into dropping its guard. The critical faculty is isolated by focusing thoughts on one thing. By engaging the imagination, the conscious mind can be focused on something that does not exist. Old movies portrayed the hypnotist encouraging the subject to focus on a swinging pocket watch. The objective was to narrow the mind's focus. Once focused, the imagination can then be used to relax the subject. When the subject's mind is undistracted and the body is relaxed, the mind can then be confused by subtly overloading the critical faculty using the imagination. The overload is the art of what I do. Some hypnotherapists use nonsensical language to bring about confusion. The overload techniques work in golfers most effectively. Golfers, on average, have a greater intellectual capacity than the general population. They're able to engage the imagination more easily and to greater effect. This makes golfers, as a rule, more easily brought into the state of what hypnotherapists call somnolence. The overload technique I use was developed by Dr. A.M. Krasner in the late 1970s. The huge benefit of this technique is that the results are immediate. Stage hypnotists use the overload technique to achieve the immediate results required to entertain an audience. Let me quickly state that I cannot control someone's mind using hypnosis. If you don't want to be hypnotized, you won't be hypnotized. If a suggestion is made during hypnosis that the client resists, the client comes out of the relaxed state, critical thinking will return, and poof, the gig's up. You'll be awake the whole time. You will just be in a trance. Have you ever driven home and realized you can't remember the drive? You were in a mild trance. Hypnosis is only different in that the trance is initiated on purpose and it's a little deeper. The way imagination therapy works is that upon purchasing your membership, you'll be given a short welcoming recording. That recording will have 2 or 3 very obvious suggestions about golf and hypnotherapy. The initial session will be available immediately, but it's recommended to put at least 24 hours between the welcoming video and the session recording. Also, the initial session, there's no harm in doing it twice, but not on the same day. The more often you're put into a hypnotic state, the easier it is to get you there. It's a place you want to go. Sometimes the very first session is distracting because you don't know what to expect. The initial session is the only one I encourage using twice, but you may not have to do it twice. I've seen 2 pack-a-day smokers sit down, get relaxed, receive the suggestions, and never smoke again after just 45 minutes. This is powerful stuff, and everyone's a little different. If you're a little distracted the first time, wait a couple of days and do it again. Sit for the session as many times as you like. There's no harm in it, and your membership gives you lifetime access. If you sit there and do it over and over with no break, the effect isn't as good because you're not as easily confused. For the actual session, you need 35 minutes in a quiet place, sitting in a chair. Don't lay down. It's likely you'll go to sleep if you lay down. Going to sleep is bad. You need to be awake to hear the suggestions most effectively. Be sober. That should go without saying, but we are dealing with golfers here. The initial session in my PAR methodology spans every aspect of golf and is directed at 3 subjects. Create agnosticism regarding the result of the shot to enable total focus on the swing. Instill a one shot at a time mentality, and being present before starting the swing or having a quiet mind over the ball. Focusing in on these issues paves the way into the zone. At the end of the day, it's all about the zone. Hypnotherapy is the quickest way to find the zone and get there consistently. The second session deals with putting. Good players make single putts. They make a decision on every putt. and commit to it. After the putting session, you may see a significant improvement in your score. Improved putting saves shots quicker than anything else. The putting session does not deal with the yips. If you have the yips, that's a different problem entirely. People buy the yip session, get cured of the yips, and never buy the rest of the package. For the life of me, I can't understand that reasoning. Instead of purchasing the par package, they go spend twice the money on a $600 driver. That's why I charge $150 for the yip session, if purchased as a standalone, but provided at no charge for those who buy the par package. If you don't have the yips, don't listen to the session. The yip session is the only one that has a swing mechanic. That's why there's one for a left-handed golfer and one for a right-handed golfer. The third session deals with full shots and how to practice. Some people want the short game after putting. I don't have a problem with that. I just don't think it's wise. The practice session deals with pre-shot routine cues and triggers other than putting. That's best installed because the short game will have these same triggers and cues. For example, looking at the dimples on the ball cues and triggers the mind to go quiet. That needs to be done before the short game to get the most out of the short game session, in my opinion. The fourth session is the short game. Visualization, trust the club, take dead aim, make a stroke, get the ball to the hole. Session 5 is course management. It's the shortest session. It deals with making a decision, committing and executing a high percentage shot, confidence to be conservative, and the humility to know your limitations. Session 6 contains suggestions to enhance play during competition. This session is not available as a standalone session currently. It is only in the par package. Getting a player ready for competition to the extent hypnotherapy can is my bailiwick. It's the thing I do better than anyone I know. I use a special word, a magical word, a powerful word, a word you've never heard before, to allow a golfer to thrive under pressure and crave competitive opportunities. It works like nothing else to play your best during competitive rounds, particularly for low handicappers looking for an edge. To get the most out of par, commit to taking the directions to imagine what's suggested seriously and do your best to create the mental images described. That's your job, your part in the process. That's your only job. It is in the process of employing your imagination that the magic happens. Once sufficiently relaxed, par uses a proprietary method of inducing a deep state of hypnosis. Once in the hypnotic state, making the suggestions doesn't take very long at all. At the end of the session, I'll count backwards from 5, and you'll be fully awake and well rested. You'll cognitively remember a lot, but not everything. Nothing could be less important. Your subconscious will have absorbed every morsel and some trash in your golf game or in your golf dialectic will be gone. In its place, you'll be more confident. You'll be hard to rattle. The next round you play may be a little different. In 4 rounds, you'll be noticeably more in control of your emotions, be more focused, and be more confident on the golf course and playing your best golf ever. One last very important observation. When you get out of the results business on the golf course and your scores improve, the value of getting out of the results business in other areas of your life will manifest. Just as you might bring debilitating turmoil to the course, you can just as easily take benefits from the course when you leave. The tremendous effectiveness of improving results by becoming agnostic about them is wildly counterintuitive. The PAR methodology is unique in that it allows you to live out a paradox. That's an extremely rare occurrence in the human experience, and golf is the game that demonstrates the truth of paradox more vividly than any other, and it's not close. All you need is a willingness to engage your imagination, a quiet place, and 35 minutes. I'll do the rest.